What's up, everybody? My name is Chance, but most people know me under the name of Cyraxx. And today I'm here to tell my story. The story of how I went through 6 years of fucking hell. And at the very end was left to die. And survived. You see, my story starts a mere 6 years ago. Well, 7 years ago now. When a guy named Music Biz Marty hired somebody by the name of Mass Troll Mafia, who is a well-known drug addict, and it's not very much liked on the internet by the internet community at all. She's had several felonies, lost her kids several times due to drug addiction, abusive relationships, and she's also been arrested multiple times for extorting her children. Marty hired this woman to do an illegal entrapment sting on me by having her approach me as an adult and then pretending to be a minor. The photo that she sent me was of her 15-year-old fucking daughter. And let me tell you right now, ever since that shit happened, my life was turned upside down for the worst. People began calling my phone, blowing my phone up to where I had to cut my phone off. People began harassing me after finding my Facebook, sending messages to me, my family. Several years later, a guy named Tips TV blackmailed me and they call myself I'm not one. And that then got spread all over the internet. But in between those two time frames, let me explain something to you. The hell that I dealt with was nothing short of terrifying. Being shot at through my bedroom window, being swatted to the point where the police almost shot me because I had my hand in my pocket. Police laughing at me like it was some sort of fucking joke. Leaving my family to fend for our fucking selves after we called them over 130 fucking different times, begging for fucking help. Me getting so depressed that I ended up in the hospital 3 different times. And at one point, I had even 2 different times in front of these trolls that I've dealt with on their own live streams as a result of what they had put me and my family through. Well, fast forward to when Marty died. When Marty died, William Gloryhole took over. Stole all my music, all my videos I've ever made. Got me shut down from every social media platform he could to keep me from making money. To keep me from earning an honest fucking living. And then a year and 2 months ago, I ended up with somebody who I thought that I would spend the rest of by the name of Kira Grieve. Somebody I had known for 13 plus years. Turned out he drove her from me. Got her to date a troll that ended her up in prison, where she currently resides. But nothing could prepare me for what happened over these last few months. You see, a lot of people don't know this, but in October, this girl by the name of Cassandra reached out to me by text now. After hearing what I went through, me and her talked on and off. And it started out, normal at first. We would text once in a while, and then that texting became more and more frequent to where we were texting every day, all day long. And then eventually we ended up calling. And that continued on all day long. And then we finally said, you know what? Why don't we just add each other on Facebook? And so we did. And from there, me and her FaceTimed every day, all day long. Fell asleep on call together every night. We became inseparable. And then eventually, we found that we wanted to be together. And so we ended up together. And from that point on, I felt like nothing could stop me. I had everything I could ever want. I had an amazing girlfriend. My career was just starting to get back on the right track. And I was doing good. I was starting to get back to my normal self. I was starting to upload more. I was starting to get my confidence back. She had spent Christmas with her family, Thanksgiving with her family, stuff like that. And then we decided a few days ago that we were going to celebrate have our own little Christmas. And she had told me that there was a package that was going to be a little bit late, which I already knew that there was a package coming. I had already known about it, and so it ended up getting here. And I opened it up. And I'm not going to lie, I was pleasantly surprised. It was a brand new wheel rig to help me get going even further in my career. Because as a lot of you guys know, I do a lot of competitive racing. But I mostly specialize in doing rally stage racing and drift events. So I started practicing again. I started practicing beforehand. And then she wanted to see me do even better. So she surprised me with that. Little did I know that was all a lie that I didn't see through. Because see, the day after, we had talked about celebrating New Year's together. She was going to come down here and we were going to celebrate New Year's. And I was excited, man. Because all these months of talking to her and we were finally going to get to see each other. Something that we had both wanted to do for so long. And so that day finally came. And let me tell you, honestly, I could barely sleep the night before. I was so freaking excited. I was hyped up. I was ready to go. I had my bags packed up. I was excited, man. I was ready. Because all these months of being with this, just the most amazing person that has helped me out in so many different ways through life. I was finally going to get to, hold her like we wanted. I was finally going to get to see her and, just be with her. So I ended up getting ready that morning. And then somebody who I thought was a friend hooked me up with an Uber and got me out there to the mall where I was supposed to meet her. When I got there, my phone was almost dead. So I hurried up and I got to a kiosk and I plugged my phone in thanks to one of the people that was lending me a charger there. I didn't see her there. So I started to get concerned. So I messaged my friends on Facebook to see what was going on. And I figured, all right, maybe she's a little bit late. Maybe she got, stuck, wherever. So I go to call my friends that I've known for pretty much my entire life. Friends that I know I can call for anything if something's going on. And these are people that I actually know in real life, that I've grown up with, that I know personally. So I called them up. They started doing some digging. Come to find out that the worst thing that can happen was unfolding right in front of me. Because see, what people don't realize, or didn't realize at that time, that there was something darker going on behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, this internet troll by the name of John had been harassing Cassandra, sending people to her house, and just doing all the worst shit that you could do to somebody. Well, little did I know that he had something to do with that day, or so I thought. Because in that moment when I did not know what was really going on, when I looked at the video footage that I was shown, it showed that the love of my life, Cassandra, had been kidnapped by one of John's people. I started freaking out. I started getting scared and worried. So I started looking around the mall for security, for police, for anybody that I could to try to help. Because I knew that we had to find her. She was missing. I was told that she was there when all of it happened. So I started asking security to start pulling up footage if they could, and unfortunately they couldn't do it. So after about an hour of trying to find her, I decided I needed to get back home. Little did I know that that was just the beginning of my nightmares. You see, I searched around the mall to try to find somebody that could bring me back home. And nobody in the mall could do that. So I left the mall looking for answers. And thank God there was a police officer right across the street. I go down the hill to get across the street to talk to the police officer. And bear in mind, this was a steep, steep hill. It was about maybe like that right there. You know, it was almost at like a degree incline. I go down the hill. My phone flies out of my pocket. I lose my phone somewhere in the deeps, broken. And something happened at that moment. As I was sliding down this huge hill, and it was a good several feet. It was at least a couple hundred feet down. As I'm sliding, for just the briefest of minutes, I blacked out. And it wasn't like, oh, I blacked out and like passed out. No, it was like one of those things where it's like, like, what the fuck? Kind of things. Like, you black out for just a brief second. But in that brief second, something happened for what felt like at least 5 minutes. And it was God. As I'm sliding in pain, going down this hill, in just the worst pain you could think of, from being hit by rocks and all kinds of shit, going down, to being freezing cold, feeling like I'm basically like, this is it. I'm about to slide down this hill and I'm about to die. This is it for me. In that moment, I heard God telling me that your story's not over. Your story has just begun. And that your time of victory is fast approaching. And when I came back to, I was leaned back against the snow, reclined back as if you would in a recliner like this. I get up, I brush the snow off my pants, off my body. And so I get up, I see this officer that had just seen what happened was running over to me. So I got up, I walked over to him. He asked me if I was okay. I told him, yeah, I think I'm okay. Like, I'm not injured or anything. We checked I lifted my shirt up, checked my legs. Everything was good. I had no injuries. He asked me my name. I told him my name, handed him my ID. And this officer did something amazing. This officer unknowingly put me in the path of two people that I will never forget for the rest of my life. This officer, when I was telling him what was going on, he couldn't believe it. Until I showed him the videos on YouTube and everything that had happened. And he knew. He was like, we need to get you home, buddy. He's like, we need to get you home. You need to find your girl, and we need to get you home so you can find her. And so this officer gave me $5 to get me to the bus station. What he did was he gave me $5 and got me to a bus stop where a bus finally came. And let me tell you, on that bus ride to the bus station, little did I know that that's where I'll meet the two angels that saved my life that day. Because one of them let me use, one of these two people noticed me on the bus going back to the bus station. Little did I know that these two people were the two people that would save my life. Because these two people, whose names I will not mention, saved my life. They had seen what happened and came looking for me. Because they saw what William and them were doing and they knew it was wrong. So they decided to come looking for me to try to help. And I didn't know that. And so this woman and her husband, they approached me wondering if I was the same person. They asked me, they're like, hey, are you Cyraxx? Are you Chance? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And they introduced themselves and they're like, we're here to take you home. They said, we saw what happened. What these evil people did to you was wrong. And, so we started talking on the way home. We started talking on the way to the bus station. And these two people were two of the most amazing people that I could ever meet in my entire life. Like, those two people, they saved my life. The guy's wife allowed me to, use one of their phones so I could call my friends and let them know that I was on my way home. Well, on the way home, unfortunately, the phone didn't work because, unfortunately, their phone died, sadly enough. But we sat there and we talked, told them about everything that had gone on, what had happened. Well, the husband took something out of his pocket and said, hey, I got a gift for you. He's like, I don't know why, but I feel like you're meant to have this. I don't know why, but something's telling me to give this to you. And so the man reached into his pocket and pulled this out and gave it to me. He said, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm meant to give this to you, to be yours. And so he gave it to me. And I thanked him. I get to the bus station and they helped me to get onto the number 8 to where, I would come home. And so I get home. I immediately fall to the floor, thinking the entire time that Cassandra had been kidnapped. I was scared. I was worried. And let me tell you, when I walked in that door, I hit the ground like a ton of bricks. I passed out for a couple minutes because I just ran 1.5 miles from my house in the freezing cold weather. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Hang on. All right. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Sorry about that, everyone. Had to take care of something real quickly. But, like I was saying, when I got home. I collapsed on the floor in tears. And I passed out for a couple minutes. And when I came to, my mom asked me why I was crying, what's going on. And I told her what had happened. And we needed to find help. Because I thought something was going on that I did not know was a setup. So I immediately got up out of the bed. And I came rushing upstairs. I told Mom, I was like, I need to call my friends. I need to find out what's going on. And so I ended up calling them and talking to them, letting them know that I made it home safe. But that's when I found out the ugly truth. That has since then changed me and how I do things now, forever. I had called up my friends and my little sister answered. And she told me, she was like, hey bro, are you okay? Are you good? I was like, yeah, why? She was like, okay, because you need to sit down for this one. And so I told her, I was like, all right, let me go grab a cup of coffee so I can, warm up even more. And then, we can talk. So I did that. I ran downstairs, I grabbed a cup of coffee, and I came back up. And so I sat down. She told me something that I didn't want to believe. And that is the fact that this woman that I was supposed to marry, the woman that I was supposed to marry at the end of this year, was in on the entire thing and was a troll. Her kidnapping was faked. It was all staged with her and John and everybody else. Needless to say, I didn't want to believe it at first. I kept on making every excuse in the book. Coming up with different scenarios as to what could be going on. Not wanting to believe that she was. Like, I didn't want to believe that she was a troll. And after about an hour of talking with her, I had finally come to the realization that she was telling the truth. That Cassandra was a troll. Turned out that Cassandra was paid by John to be my girlfriend and to eventually lure me out to the mall where I was supposed to be kidnapped and or killed. And let me tell you, when I saw the evidence, my stomach dropped. I literally got sick to my stomach because here was this woman that I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with. The woman that I had just proposed to a couple days prior and was prepared to start a life with. Who was now working with them. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, hearing. The screenshots, the photos, the videos. I didn't want to believe it. And I kept coming up with every excuse in my head as to, like, maybe this is AI. Maybe she's being forced to do this. Then I later found out that she was paid. She was paid by John to lure me out to try to kill me. And let me tell you, when I found that out, my whole world shattered. I sat there beside myself in total disbelief, just baffled at the fact that this person I was supposed to be with was really with them the entire time. And let me tell you, that whole night, I was sick to my stomach. That whole night I spent, which was last night, I spent most of the night sick to my stomach, throwing up, trying to come to terms with what I had just happened, what I had just seen and what had happened. I tell this story of what I've been through because I wanted to serve as a stark reminder that whatever happens on the internet can affect your real life. Trolling can affect your real life. So to the police out there that say, oh, it's not real. Yes, it is. To anyone out there, isn't real. It's just internet garbage. No, it can lead to real life. So to any police officer out there that thinks the internet shit does not affect real life, yes, it does, and it needs to be treated as such. I am living proof of that. The internet can affect the real world. It really can, especially if those people are dedicated enough. It truly can affect the real world. It can affect someone's life in a very real way on very real levels. And it's not pretty. It's scary. You know, I look back at these moments and from everything that I've been through, everything from being shot at a few years ago, being on the edge of suicide, to what happened just a few days ago. Let me tell you, it was the worst feeling in the world. Being left out there alone to die. And to everyone that did that shit, to Cassandra, John, Southern, William, I just want to say this. Do you not realize that what you did could have killed me? Or was that your goal, to kill me? Was that your fucking goal, was to fucking kill me? Oh, congratulations, because it almost worked. But you know what would have happened if I would have been killed? You guys would have been investigated, and it would have been all over the fucking news. Because I can tell you right now, I have a fan base out there that wouldn't have let this shit slide. They would have stepped up and they would have fucking did something. I can promise you that. They would have stepped the fuck up and they would have done something. And then you guys would have been in even more trouble than what you're gonna be. Because you wouldn't have just gone down for all the shit that you're gonna be charged with here very soon. But y'all would have been charged with murder. Attempted murder. Premeditated murder. If I had died, you guys would have been charged with so much more. So you better be fucking thankful that I'm alive. Because if I wasn't, you guys would be charged with so much more than what you are going to be charged with here in the next few months. Or possibly even weeks. And to Cassandra, all I want to know is why. Why did you do it? When I was open and honest with you when we were together, I didn't hide anything from you. I was honest with you. I told you everything. I was upfront and honest with you about everything. I loved you for you and who you were. I gave you every inch of my time and then some. I gave you every part of me. I spent every waking moment with you. I was there for you when you were upset at night, bawling your eyes out after being attacked. When those men showed up to your house to harass you, I was the first one there. I was the first one there to comfort you. To tell you that everything was going to be all right. When you had a stressful day at work, I was the one there comforting you, telling you, hey, it's okay. We all have hard days. When you were terrified of these people, I was the one sitting there comforting you. When you thought that I left you, I was there to reassure you that I hadn't gone anywhere and that I loved you. I was honest with you 100% of the time. So what I don't understand is why be dishonest with me when I was honest with you. I don't understand. Like, I fail to understand what you gained out of it. What did you gain from trying to lure me out to have me killed? What did you gain from that? What was there to gain? What was it? Money? Clout? What was it? What did you gain from doing what you did? What did you gain from that? What did you get from that? All I got to say, Cassandra, is this. You owe me some fucking answers. You seriously owe me some goddamn answers as to why you did what you did. Because trust me when I say, Cassandra, you don't want me reaching out to your family. Because if I have to reach out to your family to get answers, they're probably going to disown you when they find out the truth. I just don't understand why, Cassandra. I really don't. All these months of being with you, having your back, being there for you, comforting you, being honest and faithful and loyal to you. And then what do? You not only turn around and rip my heart out of my chest and fucking just stomp on it and stab it and throw me away like I don't matter. You literally sat there and helped these trolls try to kill me. And I just want to know why. I want to understand why you did what you did. That's all I want. I just want to understand why. What was the reason? What made you want to do this? Yes, Cassandra, as it stands right now, because of your involvement, you're looking at serious fucking prison time. And I don't just mean jail, no, I mean prison. You're looking at serious fucking prison time for this shit. For your involvement in what they did. All I got to say, Cassandra, is this. I hope that you're happy with the choice you made. I hope you got what you wanted. Because what you did almost cost me my life. And you know what's even sadder, Cassandra? My family loved you. Your mom loved me. My mom loved you as a daughter. My brothers and sisters, my extended family, they all saw you as one of their own. And yet you tried to kill me. And that's what hurts the worst. What hurts the worst, even more than that, though, is the fact that you lied to me about loving me. The fact that you lied about not working with the trolls. I was open and honest with you the whole time. But yeah, you couldn't even be open and honest with me. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why you couldn't just be fucking honest with me. I don't understand. I really and truly do not fucking understand why you couldn't just be fucking honest with me. I don't get it. Like, why couldn't you just be fucking honest with me and tell me the truth? Why couldn't you just tell me that you were working with them? Maybe I could have fucking helped you out. Maybe I could have gotten you out of that situation. Maybe I could have gotten you the help that you needed if you had just told me what was going on. But instead of telling me what was really going on, you decided to hide it and run. And Cassandra, I can't sit here and say that I'm not mad. I can't say that I'm not mad about what happened. But I can say this, that I might not be able to forget about what happened. And I never will, but I can forgive. I can forgive you. I just hope and pray that you take all this as a lesson. That you can end up in prison for shit like this. So, Cassandra, I hope and pray that from now on, you find better friends than what William and John and Southern are. Do I want to leave you behind? No, but how do I know I could trust you? How do I know that you're not working with them? How do I know that you're not going to stab me in the fucking back again? I just hope and pray that you learn your lesson. And that you never do this again. Because right now, Cassandra, you are looking at a lot of time in prison. I just hope and pray that one day you look back on this and realize where you went wrong. And I hope that you realize that anything you do on the internet can have a real world impact. But it's up to you on whether you choose to do good or evil. Me, I choose good. And I hope that one day down the line, you learn from your mistakes. This has been Chance, aka Cyraxx. And I hope that this story helps you guys. I love you guys. Peace.